Once upon a time, in a quiet village tucked between the forest and the wide river, two twin girls were born. Their parents named them Elara and Selene. Though twins, they could not have been more different. Elara had dark hair and eyes as black as midnight. Selene, her sister, was born with golden hair and eyes of a color no one could name, an otherworldly shade that shimmered like sunlight through water. From the moment they could walk, the villagers treated them differently. Elara was praised for being ordinary, familiar, safe. But Selene, with her strange eyes and unusual ways, was whispered about in fear. Some said she was cursed. Others said she was not human at all. Even as children, the other children would scatter when she walked by, and mothers would pull their little ones close, whispering prayers under their breath. With time, Elara grew to resent her. She saw how people recoiled from Selene, yet how their parents loved her all the more. A gift from the gods, they would say, stroking Selene's hair. Special, chosen. Every word of affection was salt on Elara's heart, feeding the jealousy that burned there. Selene, for all her strangeness, carried a deep fear. The river, its dark, endless waters sent her running each time she was near it. While her mates bathed, laughed, and played at its banks, Selene would freeze, trembling, as though the water itself called her name. One evening, as the sun melted into the horizon, Elara's envy finally grew too heavy to bear. She whispered to a group of village youths, weaving lies about her sister, stoking their fear until their hatred flared. Together, they hatched a cruel plan. That night, under a silver moon, they dragged Selene, kicking and screaming, to the riverbank. Her golden hair caught the moonlight like a flame, but her terror drowned it. "No, please," she cried, her voice breaking. But their hearts were hard, and Elara's eyes shone with something darker than jealousy. With a final push, they cast her into the water. Selene sank, her body seized by the cold. For a moment, terror consumed her. Then, something shifted. Her lungs filled, not with water, but with breath. Her legs shimmered, splitting into a tail covered in scales that glowed like precious gems. Her fear melted into awe as she realized she was not drowning. She was transforming. She was becoming who she was always meant to be. From the depths, she rose, radiant, a mermaid more breathtaking than any legend. The villagers who had gathered gasped in horror. They shrieked and fled, scrambling from the riverbank as though she were a demon risen from the abyss. Elara's scream was the loudest, and in that moment, Selene understood she was no longer one of them. With her heart heavy but her spirit alive, she turned her back on the land and swam into the endless embrace of the sea. There, she found others like her, mermaids, with voices that could command storms and eyes that glowed like the moon. At last, she was not strange. She was not cursed. She was home, but home came with shadows. One night, hidden beneath the waves, she overheard the mermaid's plan, a strike against the humans of the land. Her village, the same people who had hated her, the same sister who had betrayed her, they would all be swept away by the fury of the sea. Selene's heart twisted. She had every reason to let the sea claim them. Yet she could not. Whatever they had done to her, they were still her people, still her blood. So she rose from the waves, dragging herself back onto the shore. As her fins touched the earth, her tail shimmered away and her legs returned. Gasping, she ran to the village and warned them of what was coming. But they only laughed, shaking their heads, their fear of her stronger than their will to listen. All except one man, a quiet villager who had always believed the river held secrets. His eyes did not doubt her. Together, they prepared, though they were only two against many. 2 nights later, the sea rose with rage. From the black waters came the mermaids, their voices sharp as knives, calling storms to smash the village apart. But Selene stood her ground. The more she fought, the stronger she became. With every strike, her power surged, water bending to her will, waves breaking where she commanded. She was no longer the frightened girl who had once run from the river. She was its master. Side by side, she and the man battled through the chaos, until at last the sea people fell silent, retreating into the deep, broken and defeated. When dawn broke, the village was still standing. The people gathered, their faces pale, their eyes wide with awe. The girl they had mocked, the one they had tried to destroy, had saved them all. Even Elara, trembling in the crowd, could only bow her head in shame. From that day on, Selene was no longer the strange child with unearthly eyes. She was their protector, their savior, a creature of two worlds, and her name was carried with reverence, whispered like a prayer across the land. Yet in her heart, Selene knew the truth. She had not been cursed. She had been chosen.